I haven't done a video for a while, but I wanted to do a video as we're all now allowed out into the mountains. Whoop, whoop. So I thought I'd do a quick video of the essentials. So what essentials, if I was going out, am I taking with me? What's in my rucksack? Okay. Now I did do a Zoom meeting the other day with a company called Leading Edge, and there are some of these ideas have obviously come from them. I will let you know throughout the video what has come from them and what is my own, or I say my own, what we should have in our backpacks as a normal human being who wants to stay safe up in the mountains. Anyway, so first thing, okay, is navigation. Okay, now when you go up in the mountains, it's really important that you have your map and your compass, okay, and that you know how to use your map and your compass, and also make sure that it's the right map for the right area. Obvious, I know, but yeah, there are some people out there who may get that wrong. Make sure, obviously, before you go out, you plan your route. I would also be looking at escape routes as well. What I mean by an escape route is, like, if the weather turns in, like, and comes in, where, you know, how quickly can I get off that mountain? Where's the best route to come down on? That sort of thing. So it's always best to plan that. And also in the planning stages, making sure that you tell somebody where you're going. So obviously this map is Snowdon region. I'd be like, right, okay, I'm going up this peak and I'm doing this, and I'm going to be there all day. Obviously I'm starting off at this time and I'm expecting to come down off the mountain at this time, expecting to be home about this time. Okay, so always make sure that you have that planning in place before you even leave the house. Okay, so when I've got my map and my compass, always make sure you have a spare in your bag as well, because obviously if you're using your map and it gets blown away by a massive gust of wind, you're a little bit screwed, really. So always best to carry a spare map. Okay, in terms of navigation, I know that phones is something that you use as well. You know, there's loads of great apps out there, you know, OS and GPS, all that sort of stuff. They're brilliant, but obviously sometimes the mountains you don't have GPS signal. Sometimes your battery goes, and obviously always make sure that you have a power pack as well, so that if your battery does go for emergencies, you know, you can charge it up. Obviously make sure that you have a cable to charge your phone. No point having a power pack and having a dead phone and not being able to put power into it. So another great tip, make sure you have the cable to go with your power pack. There are various different power packs. I'm not going to go into it. Mine lasts for a good few days, but obviously I've personally kind of taken the weight on that. That's my decision. Some people don't really want to take the weight and might only just take something that's only going to do a couple of charges. That's up to you. Your phone, you know it best. You know what sort of battery life it holds and that sort of thing. But yeah, if you are using your phone for navigation, always good to have a power pack. But obviously at the same time, always make sure that you have your map and your compass, even if you are using your phone, because, you know, it's technology. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. Okay, so once you've got your navigation sorted, you want to move on to kind of like the safety side of it. So you want to make sure that you always have your first aid kit. Okay, now something that Leading Edge taught me the other day in a Zoom meeting. Now I always take my first aid kit, but what they said was have like an ouch pouch, meaning in fact of like a little pack together, so that you don't always have to keep going into your main pack for little things such as blisters and that sort of thing. So that's something that I'm going to be doing, and is another great tip out there for you guys. But obviously I always take my first aid kit anyway, but I'm also going to have a smaller little pack, a little bit more accessible, to be able to just get them tiny little things out, like such as plasters, to be able to administer, and at least then you're not taking up so much of your time trying to empty your rucksack. Mine's labelled because I don't have a waterproof dry bag, so I've just used a normal dry bag. So I've labelled it. It's red for starters, because obviously red for first aid, and I've also labelled it saying first aid. And that's good for if I'm trying to deal with a casualty and I need somebody to get my first aid bag out of my bag, that I can say, can you get the red one, it's labelled first aid. At least then they can clearly see. Okay, so that's always good. Continuing on from safety, this is something that I always take out with me. So I always take a survival bag, and I always take a storm shelter. Because obviously when you're out in the mountains and it turns in and the weather just comes out of nowhere and you need to get out of the wind or the rain, these are two good things. I find with a survival bag it's good to cut up, put it over casualties, that sort of thing, or even you can make like a little kind of shelter out of it. But obviously you do also have your storm shelter as well. Now, from the Zoom meeting that I had from Leading Edge, they always say to obviously have them in both. I agree. But I know that some people only just take one or the other, but I do think them both together is right. But what I have also found, which I've never seen until the other day, which you can get kind of foil ones of these, and they're a bit more expensive, but they're smaller, they're lighter, and they've got the foil covering on the inside, which is obviously a lot better. I'm not quite sure that they cut very well, so you can't really cut it up, but to put somebody inside of it, and obviously they're lighter than these, so it might be something that I'm gonna look into as an option. So that's another little hint and tip for you. So there's blizzard bags, there's I don't know, there's all sorts, but always make sure that I always make sure that there's some kind of shelter, because I think, yeah, they're good for even just having your lunch, and if you're not want to get out the wind or something, so which is quite good. Again, with safety, always making sure that you've got a great pair of footwear. Nothing worse trying to climb a mountain and you're in your flip-flops and then the weather comes in and then you're in a very vulnerable position. Obviously make sure you've got the good footwear that you can and that you have, to try and prevent you going over on your ankles, that sort of thing. So so that's quite good. Moving on over here then, I know I have another red one, which is obviously another reason why I've labelled my first aid bag. But in here I've got my hat, gloves, I've got a head torch in here as well, again in case the weather comes in. Got my buff hat. What I also have in here is some paracord, because there's nothing worse, you're going up with your dad and he snaps his shoelace, he's using his brute force to tie his shoelaces. So always good to have a little bit of cord with you along the side, on the side of caution. Fix bags and that sort of thing with it as well. And then obviously a couple of pairs of gloves in here as well. Obviously nothing worse when you're trying to navigate and your hands are cold and you don't want to get your hands in your pockets, but yeah, so it's always good to have them. Obviously, because we do live in Britain, they're never that far away, are they, like hats and gloves, but obviously if it was some very extreme warm weather, that would potentially be the only time that you might empty that out a little bit and maybe leave them at home. Questionable. I guess this is ifs and buts, isn't it? And you've got to make the right call for the day and the weather. Personally, I always chuck it in. It's pretty light and yeah, it's always worth it, and even if you don't get cold, somebody else might, so always good to have. Now obviously this is personal essentials, it's not mountain leader essential or anything like that, because there would be more equipment than this, so this is just personal essential. I've got another buff here in this dry bag. I've got a mid layer. I've also got my waterproof trousers, my Paramo waterproof trousers in here. Obviously, again, depends on the day. depends what, you know, what you're wearing to start off with. If you're starting in your waterproof jacket, you might have your down jacket already in your bag, or you might be down jacket on, waterproofs in your bag, with whatever. You know, you've got to judge it by checking the weather out before you go, and that's a massive thing, and that's again goes in your preparation when you're in the planning stages. So always making sure you got the right kit. Always, you know, we're in the UK, it can rain bloody any time of the year, and you can have all 4 seasons in one day. So always good to be prepared, but depending on the weather, how that dry bag of spare clothes and stuff would look, depending on the start of the day and the weather forecast for that day, and potentially even the weather forecast for the next day, because that will tell you whether any cold fronts are moving in. And because, you know, we 9 times out of 10 tend to get the weather forecast wrong. So obviously that cold front that is, you know, due tomorrow, might be glorious sunshine today, might come in a lot quicker, might catch you as you're on your way down. So yeah, something to consider anyway, during that planning stage. The other thing, again, to keep me nice and safe is making sure that I'm hydrated. I know some of you are going to be like, oh my god, that bladder is massive. Yes, it is. This is a 3 litre one. I don't carry 3 litres, but I like to have the option of getting plenty. Personally, I only drink sort of a litre and a half anyway, and that's on a really hot day. I'm only small, don't need that much fluids in my body, but obviously you've got to keep hydrated to make the right decisions. So by looking after yourself, making sure that you're hydrated. Again, by having the 3 litres means that I can scoop it out of streams and that sort of stuff, and if needs be I can, you know, use it to top up other people's water bottles as well, obviously allowing enough for mine as well. I quite like this one because it's actually got the little measurements along the side as well, so I can actually make sure that I do have enough for myself, as well as potentially, worst case scenario, scooping some out of a stream and giving some to other people. And then just the last couple of items, another essential which has made my list, which if you knew me back in a few years ago, I really wasn't into walking poles at all. I'm, you know, very brute force like that, and basically I have come around to these. I had an injury, not from walking but from playing football of all things, and I had to succumb to wearing them. Ego proper went out the window, and I've got to say, they're well worth it. And even if you're not going to use them, maybe somebody in your party or somebody that you're going with, I don't know, so if you're going out with dad and his knee starts hurting, you can give him a pole and he can use it, or you can give him both if you're fine, and, you know, to help him get down. And obviously if someone's got an injury and, you know, not even an injury, but like a niggle is kind of what I mean. If they've got a niggle in their knee or something, and it's pretty much like, oh, okay, yeah, we've got to get you down off the mountain. These can definitely take the pressure off, and they do the job, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, when I had to use them, I had to throw my ego right out the window. Next thing that I also feel like is an essential, and that's a pair of sunglasses, because like I said, you can have 4 seasons in a day in this country. It's ridiculous at times. But, you know, nothing worse trying to navigate and the sun shining off the map and you're squinting away, and then you're going to get all your wrinkles. And yeah, that's never a good look, is it? So yeah, I always try and make sure that I've got a pair of sunglasses also in my rucksack as well. So this would be the very basics, apart from obviously adding in my food for this, for the day. And my snacks. This would kind of be, alright, I'm going out, this was what I'm taking. If I'm taking a group out, that'd be a bit different. I would have other bits to take on board with that, in terms of clothing and layering, as well as other bits and bobs. But this is my own personal kind of essential, bare minimum essential guide for going out. So I hope it helps, and I hope you all manage to whoop whoop, finally get out into the mountains. But yeah, give us a like, give us a follow on various different social media platforms, and enjoy the mountains, and fingers crossed that weather comes back for us. That glorious sunshine, that would be nice, wouldn't it? All right, take care everyone.